What up, YouTube? Here with a post-fight video for Roiman Villa versus Rashidi Ellis. Now, before I give y'all the summary of what took place in the fight, I'm going to tell y'all the results first. Roiman Villa won the fight via majority decision. I personally had the fight scored a draw at 113 apiece, as did one of the judges. But two of the judges that had it in favor of Roiman Villa had it only a round up for Villa. That goes to show y'all how close the fight was. Now, I like to see a rematch between the two fighters, Roiman Villa and Rashidi Ellis. They're both still up-and-coming fighters, and I say this was the best fight on the card that night. Now, with that being said, let's get to the summing up part of this fight. The first half of the fight, it was all Ellis. Ellis was displaying great boxing skills in the first half of the fight. He was dominating the first half of the fight. He showed great counter-punching ability, great defense, great ring generalship, great movements overall. He was maneuvering throughout the ring very well. He showed superior hand speed and as well as superior foot speed, and great defense overall as well on the part of Ellis. Roiman Villa, he was trying to cut off the ring versus Ellis, and he wasn't successful at that because he's slower when it comes to the hand speed and foot speed as well. And his shots that he was throwing towards Ellis were very telegraphic, and that made it easy for Ellis to avoid shots from Villa. And Ellis did a great job at picking off Villa in the first half of the fight with counter punches whenever Villa would throw those slow, sluggish punches, and Ellis was, countering him with fast counter punches and great combinations. And then the second half of the fight, that's when Villa started to turn up his offense and his aggression, because in the corner of Villa, they obviously saw that he was down on the scorecards. He wasn't connecting anything. All the flush, clean shots were coming from Ellis, and the corner was asking Ellis to, turn up the heat and step on that gas pedal and muster up whatever he can to make the fight a lot more closer than how it's been going. And that's exactly what Villa did. He started to throw a lot more shots, and he started to become more successful at cutting off the ring versus Ellis. And I say the second half was all Villa, other than the 8th round. I gave the 8th round to Ellis because I thought Ellis did a good job at slowing down Villa's offense, and did a good job at stopping Villa from cutting off the ring versus him. And then in the 12th round, that's when things started to get dramatic, as Villa scored 2 knockdowns on Ellis. He caught him with a great left hook. He set that up beautifully. He would throw a right hand to the body that would bring down the guard of Ellis, and when Ellis was backpedaling, that's when Villa caught him with a swift left hook, dropping Ellis to the canvas. And Ellis, he lost his footing, and he didn't recover well from that knockdown. He was woozy and daisy, and then that's when Villa started to try and close the show on Ellis, and he scored yet another knockdown with Ellis not having his balance and his footing up under him. And that's when Villa had Ellis against the ropes, started throwing punches and bunches. And then the second knockdown wasn't as efficient as the first knockdown, because if y'all look at the replay, that's when Villa looked like he shoved Ellis to have him lose balance more than he already was losing balance at that 12th and final round. And then he caught him with like a unclean, I'm not saying like a cheap shot, but a punch that didn't land thoroughly is what I'm saying. And that's what was the cause of the second knockdown. And that's what evened out the scorecards on how I scored the fight. That's why I scored the fight at 113 apiece. If Ellis were to only get dropped once in that 12th round, then I would have had Ellis winning that fight still. However, there was 2 knockdowns in the 12th round, hence why the fight, I personally had it scored a draw. Like I said, it was a very competitive, very close, very back and forth, action-paced fight with Ellis and Villa. Like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing these two up-and-coming fighters headline a future show. I want to see a rematch with Ellis and Villa, and I'm sure they would throw another a great fight. And the welterweight division, it's got good up-and-coming fighters like Ellis, Villa, Boots, Ortiz, bunch of names amongst the top welterweights right now, and they're all young and up and coming good fighters. And I know a lot of boxing fans were talking about, oh, Ellis should fight Ennis, and that fight, it was apparently supposed to happen on the Davis Garcia show that we saw last week, and it didn't happen because I guess Ellis didn't like the offer that was being presented to him. That's why we didn't see the fight with the two up-and-coming fighters in the welterweight weight class with Ellis and Ennis. And we saw both of these prospect welterweights fight on the undercard to Davis and Garcia last week. And now that Ellis Ennis fight is gonna have to be postponed, and it looks like this was a IBF title eliminator as well, and we know Ennis currently holds that interim IBF welterweight title right now. So now, since Villa's got that win over Ellis, now I think that puts Villa more in position to have that fight versus Ennis. However, this doesn't mean Ellis is not a up-and-coming fighter, because he still has a lot of potential. He's still a good fresh fighter. Now, with that being said, he's still got a great future ahead of him. He just gotta bounce back from this L in a good way, and not take this L in a negative way. Like I said, I want to see a rematch, and we'll see if they do go through with the rematch with Villa and Ellis. And yeah, I like the scene in the welterweight division right now. Anyways, what would y'all like to see from these two up and coming fighters, Roiman Villa and Rashidi Ellis? Would y'all want to see a rematch? And what's y'all opinions from what y'all saw from this fight with Rashidi Ellis and Roiman Villa? Comment, subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. And that does it for this post-fight video. I'm out of here, y'all, and peace.